Okay, here's a new book review. A book that came out about a year or 2 years ago during the COVID lockdown. The Angelic Life, A Vision of Orthodox Monasticism. A beautiful book, this. Big, like it's A4 size paper at least there. Hardback, comes straight from Amazon, you know, but St. Nicholas Skeet, Alaska. Written by monks, for monks arguably, but there's an awful lot, of course, because monasticism is essentially authentic Christian life in one particular application, a very traditional application. There's an awful lot here which is applicable to us all, especially Orthodox Christians. So a massive book that is about 500 pages worth. And there's a lot of quotes in here from church fathers who are church fathers, but you don't often hear about. And that makes it quite a special book. It deals with an awful lot of aspects of the monastic life, from noise, laughter, frugality, to renunciation, silence, prayer, prayer rule, silence, book reading, work, you name it, it's in there. Okay? And as I say, it's quote after quote from the church fathers as well as from their applied experience. So beautiful book, beautiful book. And these are the chaps who were taught by Elder Ephraim of Arizona, who was himself taught by St. Joseph of Hesychast. So a beautiful lineage. Now, the only bit that I'm going to go into here is the bit on the use of the internet, because I think, well, wow, that really applies to us guys out here in the world, as it were. No, it's not this bit, forgive me. It is this bit here. So he mentions the fact that, you know, don't kid yourself being a monk and remain in your cell, and your cell will teach you everything. If you're busy whipping out your phone every 5 minutes, every time it blips or bleeps, you know, that's not going to teach you anything. Go sit in your cell, as Abba Moses says, and it will teach you everything. Well, it won't do if you've got a high-speed 5G mobile phone in your back pocket. You might as well be in the world, mate. So, how to use the mobile phone? Well, he mentions a couple of brilliant quotes from books, rather. Jean-Claude Lachey has a book called The New Media Epidemic, The Undermining of Society, Family and Our Own Soul, by Holy Trinity Publications 2019. He recommends that. He also recommends The Digital Detox or something. Let me see if I can find it. He recommends a couple of books which are absolutely beautiful. From what I see that he's quoting them. So Jean-Claude Lachey, he's got a book called Hamlet's Blackberry, he refers to, and also Digital Minimalism by Choosing a Focused Life in a Noisy World by Cal Newport. So that's all there. And these guys obviously have their own YouTube channels and YouTube materials, so maybe check that out. I've spoken to a few Orthodox priests recently, and they've said, you know, we've got to build it into our fasting regime, you know, never mind just abstain from fish or oil and different things. The new fish and oil that's really coming at us is YouTube, Facebook, internet in general. And we've got to know how to say no at times. So I'll just give you a wee taste of this. It's absolutely beautiful. Let me see. I'll just put the camera down on something so that I can just get on and read it to you. So what he says is the following. The new media are always a temptation to turn from the task in hand, and also from our neighbour and our own spiritual benefit, and from God himself. The companies that the companies that manage the internet organize it so that the user sees as much as possible of everything to which he is easily tempted. If we review the basic list of all the passions, he's going to say that, excuse me, this is me now, he's going to say that every single one of the 7 deadly sins, or the 8 thoughts, as Evagrius Ponticus and St. John Cassian originally listed them, He's going to say every single one of those is supersized by the internet. Love of the belly, gluttony, avarice, or the love of money and the desire to acquire more money and goods. Lust, or attachment to sexual pleasure. Anger, which includes all forms of aggression. Fearfulness, which includes disquiet and anxiety. Sadness, Arcadia, the state of dissatisfaction, disgust, laziness and instability. Self-love, vanity or vainglory, it's all in there. It's pride. All of these things get supersized by the internet. You start clicking on cream cakes, before you know it, everything's cream cakes. The world is made of cream cakes. You start you see a nice looking woman on the internet, boom, down you go. Before you know it, every time you open YouTube, there's 101 of them. And you're lost. Before you know it, you're gone. There's similarly with so many things. And then he goes on to say, pride and vanity are reinforced by counting the likes received and showing that one can collect more followers on Twitter or likes from the so-called friends of Facebook than the next man. Those who use Facebook tend to show a flattering image of themselves, and which surpasses reality. Their faults are erased. How unholy, how ungodly, how absolutely antithetical that is to the Orthodox spirit. Their faults are erased and their qualities exaggerated. They even claim qualities they never even had. This has a bad effect, not just on themselves, but on others, who may feel down by the outrageous exaggeration they see in the images that they take to be true. How much damage? How much damage? Psychologists have even found that it is a cause of depression, which concords with the teaching of the holy ascetics who saw pride and vanity as sources of sadness and Arcadia, two states that resemble what we now call depression. Because, of course, if you're busy with your own vanity and pride, well, guess what you're gravitating towards in the on the internet. You're only going to see others that are locked into the same stupidity, as it were. So he goes on to say, the new media, especially the television, the internet, and the social media, have created a world in parallel to the real world, a virtual world, where the most important thing is to speak about what one does or intends to do. To speak about it, not to do it, to speak about it. This is the thing. Or to get others to speak of it. This has become more important than actually doing it. One's image is more important than one's identity. There ain't no image on this. These are just notes I'm leaving for myself to look back on, and, well, whoever else wants to have a look. I've spent a fortune on books over the years, so I might as well share some of this with people. He goes on to talk about a disembodied existence and how being on the internet for hours, for work, and then switching it to basically internet for pleasure, then in the evening you're gone and you're in this disembodied bubble world. And we have to become embodied by doing manual labor, by chores, walking, cooking, praying in an embodied way, prostrations, etc. Come off the flipping internet. Well, I think that's all I've got to say. This medicine is for myself primarily, because I'm really there. Yes, I've lived in a world without internet as a Catholic monk for nearly a decade, but I'm back in the world, and I'm very much just as caged with the internet as any Gen Z, pretty much. But I'm determined to take steps. I've spoken to my spiritual father about this, and steps have been taken, and the battle continues. God bless you. Amen.